Hey guys, welcome to Loose Watercolor's 3 Fall Flowers. It's the beginning of September and I'm super excited about autumn and everything fall that is changing in the air. And I wanted to show you 3 flowers that you could draw right now that are still in bloom. The first one is a California poppy. And I'm just sketching out really basic shapes, trying to just figure out the positioning of the flowers and stems. And you can see I've already put one of the loose poppies down, and now what I'm doing is just using the tip and the belly of my brush to make those petal shapes. I'm not using an exact reference of the flower, I'm just kind of referencing the shape and movement I see typically with California poppies. And I'm making sure that I use different strengths of paint, so I get some darker petals and some lighter petals. This is a nice watery wash of New Gamboge and Windsor Orange. And I think I put a little bit of Windsor Lemon in a few of the mixes as well. And the trick to this is just making sure that you use the tip of your brush and the belly of your brush. So starting with the tip, then I wiggle it and then I push down. This is going to be a thinner stroke because I'm painting a bud right now, or like a slightly opened bud. And I love the way that color kind of pools up and flows through to create the lighter and darker areas of the petals. This is such a relaxing and soothing way to paint botanicals. My other style is quite precise and detailed, and it's a very different painting style than these loose florals, which I'm really enjoying right now. So now I'm just adding the stems and just using a smaller brush. The earlier brush was a 6 and this is a 3 round brush with a nice point, and the lighter pressure you'll use, the thinner line you'll get. And I've just mixed sap green with some cobalt turquoise. And now I'm just going to show you how to do the leaf. I'm doing it separately just because when I filmed the leaf originally my hand was blocking because I'm left-handed, and the way you kind of need to pull certain directions to get the effects with these loose florals, I ended up blocking the leaf. So here's one with me not blocking. So I'm just making little fronds, and I did a main line that's curved and then little lines off the side with little like fork on each end, kind of like carrot leaves, what you'd see. That's what the California poppy leaves are like. So it's pretty simple. And now you can see there the 3 that I'd added in. And then to finish this one off, I'm just adding a darker yellowy orange. This is quinacridone gold. And I'm just stippling a little bit in the center of the poppy that is open and front facing. And that is everything for the quick loose florals for California poppies. The next is going to be Rudbeckia. And I did already do the center here. I used Payne's Gray and Sepia, and again I just stippled a bit of a round shape to represent the center of the Rudbeckia. Sometimes I think they're called brown-eyed Susans as well, and my mom has tons of these in her garden right now and they're so beautiful. So back to a number 6 round brush, I'm pushing down with the tip and then kind of doing a wiggle and dragging the belly of the brush to get that nice petal shape. And again, I'm trying to make sure I don't block all of this, but the angle that you pull your brush is really important for this type of flower. And I find if you do it properly, you get a much nicer shape than if you drew it and then filled it in with a wet on wet wash. So you might have to practice the way you pull it and flick the brush a little, and I did do lots of practice, so these are not my first attempts at these flowers. I did a full practice sheet before I filmed this video. So I'm getting the main petals in position, and now with water to dilute the color on my brush, I'm filling in the other petals. And I don't mind that a little bit of the center color has dragged through. I kind of like that watery effect. And this is a really quick way to get a beautiful complex flower that would normally take a lot longer to paint. Now I've just added the stem. I used sap green and Winsor yellow. And now I'm doing the leaves. Still with this number 6 brush, I used the point to make a tiny line off the stem. And then I pushed down with the belly to get the leaf shape. And what I'm doing now is just creating little scallops on the edge of the leaf while it's still wet. So I make a thin line off the stem, and sorry that my hand blocked there again. I will try and get better at that. And then you just press down and pull out to get that nice quintessential leaf shape. And instead of just leaving it, which you could, I'm going to add that little bit of extra detail, which is the round scalloped edge to the rudbeckia leaf. And I'm just wiggling my brush. You could use that same technique to make serrated pointed edges too, which I'll show you on another video coming up. And that completes the rudbeckia. And the next flower we're going to paint is the tansy, and these are in bloom in the fields by my house right now. And they're these cute little round pom-pom flowers. They remind me of little yellow pom-poms. They're super cute and cheerful. So I've started with the number 6 brush again, and I'm just kind of using the tip and pressing down to make nice little circles. And I started with a lighter yellow, Winsor Lemon, and then I've gone in with a darker yellow, New Gamboge, and I'm making the circles touch a little bit so they bleed into each other. And I'll show you that one more time just because I didn't have my camera on for that full portion of that. So I made the darker circles here, and now pushing down, again, you could just practice this on a spare piece of paper before you do your good copy. I'm just adding in more circles and kind of letting some of them bleed into each other. Now I'm going back to the green, and I used a darker green for this one, so sap green mixed with Payne's gray makes a really nice dark botanical green. And now I'm using the number 3 brush with the tip right on, like the point really upright, and light pressure dragging down will give you a nice fine line. And then I'm trying to curve them just a little bit so they're not super uniform looking. There's some curve and shape to the way that they form, and some of that color there is still wet on the tansies, but I'm not really minding that some of the greens bled in. It's part of the style of these loose watercolor botanicals. And then I just made it a little bit of a thicker line dragging down for the main stem. And now we're just going to move on to the leaves for the tansy, and still using that darker green mix. Now I'm back to the number 6 brush, and I'm just again lightly pulling out that thin stem, and then I'm pressing and dragging out little sort of teeth of the edge of the leaf. And you can just press the point down and then press further down and drag the belly out and then lift up at the end, and that will give you kind of the thicker in the middle and then pointed at the end toothy leaves. And that is the tansy complete. So those are 3 loose watercolor flowers, late summer, early fall blooming. Beautiful in any harvest style bouquet or anything like that. And that's everything for the tutorial today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.